The Sonic movie 2 is going big for its release. Big fancy trailers, more immersion than you can count, preemptive announcements of a third movie and a TV series, and McDonald's commercials. Yeah, a movie can't get any bigger than this. But I'm here to tell you all why this movie may not only change the Sonic franchise, but the entire approach to video game movies in general. Hey beautiful humans, I'm RidersDX, and yes, this video may be an excuse to gush about the Sonic movie, but it also presents a compelling argument as to how this movie's trajectory could impact numerous video game movies to come. To illustrate this, let's take a quick time traveling trip to when the original Sonic movie first got its trailer review. I don't want to dredge up old scars and such, but it's safe to say that the majority of the internet was absolutely furious with this initial trailer. It not only presented Sonic in a form that seemed uncanny and, well, weird, but it also represented a massive disconnect from the Sonic franchise itself. Sonic was by himself in the human world, and an average police cop took up a significant portion of the trailer's runtime. Combine that with the backdrop of Gangsta's Paradise, and you had a trailer that was almost outright repelling longtime Sonic fans. This is what I call the classic Hollywood formula when it comes to adapting video games. There has been this long-time stigma we've seen in numerous attempts at a video game movie that, while these characters and storylines may work in a video game setting, they would not work at all in a cinematic setting. No, to adapt the movie to the big screen, it needs to be given that big Hollywood glam makeover with the orchestral backdrop, celebrity stars, and a healthy dose of ignorance. But when that initial Sonic trailer came out, we got to see an immediate objection to that mindset, as numerous people, both fans and non-fans of the franchise, spoke out against this direction for the movie. So Paramount did the unthinkable and listened to the public. They pulled the movie from its holiday release and gave the team time to rework the design of Sonic. Months later, a second trailer with the revitalized Sonic was revealed, and not only did it feature Sonic that was much more positively received, but it had rock-based guitars blasting by the end of it and a larger focus on Sonic's badass personality. This was beginning to feel more like a Sonic movie, a video game movie that stuck more closely to its source material. And when the movie came out, it's safe to say that it was a booming success, becoming the top-grossing video game movie in the USA. In fact, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I have no doubt this movie would have become the top-grossing video game movie worldwide as well. So as we fast forward to the quickly approaching premiere of the second movie, it's safe to say that Paramount has only dived into this direction even further with a video game movie that seems like the most video game movie to ever come out. If you look through the countless promotional materials, you will see the focus has shifted almost completely to the dynamics between Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik. We have numerous posters, for instance, depicting that rivalry between Sonic and Knuckles. The trailers reference numerous plot devices from the video games, like Angel Island. The Sonic movie 2 looks to be paying tribute even more to the video game series, and is thus looking to be the most faithful video game adaptation to ever exist. And the public loves it. This is the thing I feel many movie studios get wrong when they adapt these franchises. They have it fixed in their mind the belief that these franchises won't work in their current form on the big screen. But they should really be thinking about what it is about these franchises that made them big enough to warrant a big screen adaptation in the first place. What is it about Sonic the Hedgehog in particular that's made him so popular to this very day, especially when you consider the consistency of the quality of his games has been, well, anything but. Sonic's very nature is extremely marketable. Everyone that's a fan of Sonic loves his fun yet badass attitude and the way he antagonizes Eggman after all these years. They love Sonic's dedication to protecting the world and the way he interacts with his friends and rivals. They love the world that Sonic was brought up in and how his actions have directly impacted it. Paramount had this bogus mindset of the first movie, but they quickly switched gears when they realized that wasn't the way to go, and look at where they are now. The Sonic movie franchise is looking to be one of the biggest success stories in a long time, with tons of content to come in the distant future. I believe that this success will be emulated by other companies going forward, with future video game adaptations paying more close attention to the franchises they stem from in an attempt to carry those defining qualities to the big screen. Social media has been able to bridge this disconnect between these studios and fans, and the Sonic movie franchise is the perfect example of that. If studios continue to bridge this gap, we can have even more successful adaptations in the future and thus enjoy even more content starring our favorite video game icons. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Sonic movie 2 turns out. I plan to see it the night of release, and I'm highly anticipating the Knuckles spin-off in particular coming next year. I mean, my man is finally getting the love he deserves after years and years of neglect. If you were ever curious about the bumpy trajectory the video game series has had up to this point, up next is a snippet of a video where I go over the 15 most critically panned Sonic games of all time. Here's the first 2 games on that list. Coming in at number 15, we've got Sonic Forces with a Metacritic score of 58. Not a complete surprise seeing this make the ridiculous considering its reception within the fanbase itself, many critics found the overall experience to be underwhelming, with many comparing it unfavorably to Sonic Mania. Sonic Forces is a disappointing step back for the franchise. Uninteresting level design and subpar gameplay on all 3 playable characters make for a game that can be frustrating to get through. The nonsense story is poorly written and makes more tonal shifts than Mariah Carey with an ice cube down her back. The game is perfectly fine for the younger audience it's targeting, and we're sure to enjoy it for what it is, but in the wake of Sonic Mania's tremendous success, the problems 3D Sonic has always faced are becoming much harder to ignore. Push square, 4 out of 10. Sonic Forces doesn't ever reach the lowest lows the series has gone through in the past, yet it also has almost nothing in it that leaves a lasting impression. It's the kind of game you can breeze through in an afternoon and then forget about immediately after. The customization in Forces is appreciated, but it's nowhere near enough in a game that lacks great ideas. Easy allies, 5 out of 10. Sonic Forces is a disappointing rehash of everything that has been done wrong in the Sonic franchise in the past. There were some good ideas here, but none of them were executed in a way that was fun or enjoyable. Game Crate, 5.8 out of 10. Some critics still found some fun to be had of the game despite its shortcomings. What ends up holding Sonic Forces back is that it, ironically, moves too fast to leave any sort of lasting impact, speeding through both its plot and levels in short bursts instead of leaving more time for anything to soak in. Outside of its length issues, however, the gameplay is solid, the character customization is incredibly fun, and the aesthetics are impressive as always. Hardcore Gamers, 7 out of 10. Sonic Forces is a confident game, serving up a story and stages that go for broke while dodging the pitfalls of the past. As long as you're not a hardline 3D Sonic hater, this earnest, entertaining adventure is worth a spin. WCCF Tech, 8 out of 10. Sonic Forces is passionate, strong, and fast. Very fast. However, it has notorious design problems that we've seen in previous Sonic games. That said, the game is visually charming, musically vibrant, and brings real hope to fans for seeing the revival of Sonic in the future. 3D Wagos, 7 out of 10. I think the critics actually sum it up pretty well. Sonic Forces is not inherently a bad game, as it has some solid mechanics carried over from the previous 3D titles and is well put together package. But there just isn't anything out of this world amazing about the game that helps it stack up to Sonic's previous adventures. It literally flashes by you within a moment's notice, almost as if you were watching a movie rather than playing a game. It really had potential to be a grand adventure, especially given its scenario, but it does just about everything it can to drag the excitement out of the game until it's just forgettable all around. If there's anything I'd love to see return from this game though, the custom character is an awesome idea and I'd love to see more Sonic games make use of them. They don't necessarily have to be as big of a part of the game as they were here, but even having the option to create your own character and play their own missions with them would be a great way to engage fans, especially the many ones of OCs. At number 14 is none other than Sonic Unleashed with a Metacritic score of 57. As beloved of a game as this can be within the Sonic community, the general public had very mixed opinions on this title. Coming off of Sonic 06, many critics just saw similar shortcomings in terms of controls and gameplay, and many were also not fond of Werehog's inclusion. Terrible level design, unresponsive controls, and a poor camera are just the beginning of the problems in this awful adventure. GameSpot 3.5 out of 10. They tossed in one of the dumbest twists in the history of gaming. A werehog? Really? Stretchy arms? Did anyone actually believe this was going to be fun? Gone are any elements of speed, replaced with mindless and poorly designed brawling segments with some terrible platforming sections. IGN 4.5 out of 10. Sonic Unleashed had promise, and actually part of the game is pretty decent, but it's too bad the entire game wasn't complete with the mindset of Day Sonic. Sorry Sonic, gamers pass on this one. Extreme Gamer 4.5 out of 10. Some critics received the game more positively despite not loving the entirety of the game. To be quite frank, Sonic Unleashed is half great game and half unnecessarily unleashed. The Sonic levels are extremely fun and bring back the memories of yesteryear, and the nighttime levels will leave players wondering why Sonic Team continues to torture their fans by continuing to add pointless things to prolong good gameplay. Game 2.0, 7.7 out of 10. Despite the game's clumsy story progression and repetitive werehog combat, it manages to be the best Sonic game released in recent memory. This is thanks mostly to the excellent hedgehog levels that evoke memories of classic Sonic titles while still managing to feel fresh and new. Cheat Code Central 7.2 out of 10. I appreciate Team Sonic's effort to mix the old with the new, and there's definitely some potential in the alter ego mechanic. Unfortunately, they don't blend especially well in Unleashed, an experience that had me alternately stoked to get to the next traditional level and a bit disappointed every time the sun went down. Team Xbox 7 out of 10. Despite the wide-ranging scores, it seems the majority of critics had roughly the same opinion. Daytime stages were a blast, while werehog levels were a drag. Where the variation comes in is how much the daytime levels elevated the game in comparison. Looking back on it, I personally enjoyed Sonic Unleashed very very much and think the Werehog is actually well built in its mechanics, but it really had no place in not just being in a Sonic game, but taking up such a large portion of it. It's just a complete pace breaker from the daytime levels. It's like they took the mech levels and just eliminated any sense of speed those levels had. Granted, you could speed through the levels, but then you'd miss all the damn sun and moon medals, which is a whole nother can of worms. It's too bad because this game nails so many things like its story, graphics, sound, and the sheer amount of side content. It's a high budget Sonic game we haven't seen for quite some time. I get why the game is here, but hopefully Sega doesn't think the game is all bad, as it's got a lot of shining qualities to it I definitely want to see return. If you want to find out what the rest of those games are on that list, then please click on the nice looking thumbnail here on the top left to check it out. A special shout out to my patrons, Teen Rival Sonic Gamer, Trash Q, and Claw84. You guys are amazing. I wouldn't be here without you all. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll catch y'all next time. Make sure to click that big red button if you want to see more Sonic content in the future. This is Riders, riding out.